Good evening. What's up?
Hey.
When I tell my people my rent is $550 a month, they're always like, wait, what's the catch? But actually, there's not a catch. There are many, many catches. Like, there's mold in my closet. I had bed bugs a few years back. I get a lot of mice. The stove doesn't work. My bathroom window won't close all the way. And oh yeah, one time a drug deal went south in my parking lot and a lady got shot and bled all over my car. But that's the worst thing that's ever happened in 8 years of living there. Or it was until last month. I don't know. Maybe it still is. Thing is, I may have almost died recently, so I'm not being totally objective. I'll just tell you what happened and let you decide. So I was in my aforementioned apartment, sitting at my desk, where I spend most of my time doing my two favorite things, writing and procrastinating from writing, when I heard a gunshot. Now, gunfire is pretty normal in this neighborhood, but it sounded closer than usual. So I stood up to look out the window. If I hadn't stood up, I'm pretty sure the next shot would have gone through me. I saw a little explosion of drywall, dust near my waist, and I realized, oh, I'm not near a shooting, I'm in one this time, which is a very American sentence now that I think about it. Luckily, I prepared for the possibility of getting shot at. After all, I teach in public schools. So I dive into my bathroom and lay on my stomach. I hear a couple more rounds, and then a suspenseful little silence gives way to screaming. The neighbor to my right comes charging out our door and yells, "God damn it, y'all get the fuck inside." I hear what sounds like a couple of kids following her through the door, leaving me to wonder, did I just get shot up by a child? Again, I teach at public schools, so I prepared for that exact possibility, but I want confirmation that's what happened. I peer out the courtyard and see all my neighbors doing the same thing. It seems like no one's been hit, which is good, because other than me, this place is mostly parents and kids. Weirdly, I'm not feeling a lot of fear yet. That'll come later. But at this point, it's like my body still hasn't realized this is a big deal. And I guess since my only experience with bullets is from TV, I decide to play CSI. I go over to the spot where the drywall came loose, and sure enough, there's a new peephole in my wall. This is when I realized that if I hadn't stood up, there'd be a new hole in me too. But I'm not quite ready to sit in that truth yet, so I go further in the direction of playing fake CSI with my real crime scene. I trace the path of the bullet and find another hole in my mattress. I dig around in there, but find no shell casing, so I pull the mattress out from against the wall and realize not only did the bullet go through my bed, it went out through another wall. I got two new peepholes. By this time, the cops have shown up, started knocking on doors. While I'm waiting for them to get to me, I text my friend who asks, "Do you know who did it or why?" I say, "I think it was a kid," but I really have no idea. And my friend says maybe they were trying to keep the rent low. I wish I believed that. There is a certain twisted beauty in using the lack of gun control to make up for the lack of rent control. After a while, the cops still haven't been knocked, so I go outside to find them, but they're gone. I'm honestly kind of relieved. I doubt talking to them would have done much good, and for all I know, the same kid who shot at my place has been watching all these knock and talks through the window, making a list of snitches. As I'm headed back inside, a teenager who lives downstairs sees me and asks if I'm okay. My neighbors and I don't talk much, but we do check in with each other in times of crisis. In fact, I remember talking to this kid back when that lady got shot and bled all over my car. He's grown a foot since then. Time flies, man. By the time we talk at the next shooting, he'll probably be heading off to college. I go back upstairs, and I don't know what to do with myself, but I look at the holes in the wall, and I feel like I have to do something. So I log into the online resident portal for my apartment complex and open a new maintenance request. I title it, "Bullet Holes in Need of Repair." And while I'm writing it, I realize, wait, this is an opportunity, because years back, I accidentally kicked a big gash into the drywall, and I've been too embarrassed to say anything about it. But if I just slip that in at the end of this report about bullet holes, maybe they'll be too horrified to care. This is great. I think this child shooter may have just saved my full security deposit. So I write up my maintenance request, and I'm worried about getting called out on the drywall thing. It doesn't occur to me that this is how they're first hearing about what happened. They write back, "What? There was a shooting? Did you see who did it? Did you call the police?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't really know. What about the drywall? The gash may be too wide the gash may be too wide to caulk. You may need a wire mesh patch and some spackle." Apartment management calls me later. They tell me another unit nearby took a bullet through the door. They think it was someone in the apartment next to me. They're trying to get those people evicted. I didn't think I'd ever be on the side of eviction, but I guess that's another first for me today. Still, no one seems clear on exactly what happened here. Was the shooter, in fact, a child? Were they high or mad or just bored? And here's the question that really distressing me. Do they still have that gun? Is there anything at all stopping them from this happening again 5 minutes from now? I've got no idea and nothing left to do but bounce around my 460 square foot home. And this is when the fear finally catches up with me. I discover that I'm now averse to standing in front of the bullet holes, as if another bullet may come through at any moment. It's like in the absence of clear information about who did this, my brain has decided to blame the holes. A little later, someone outside drops something heavy and I jump. And when I'm drifting off to sleep that night, I dream of gunshots that jolt me back awake. The next morning, I get word that the neighbors are being evicted and they'll be out in 48 hours. In the meantime, I find a lot of reasons to not be home. The laundromat, the grocery store. I go to an AA meeting and tell them this story, which turns a pretty dead meeting into a live one. That child shooter may have helped some people stay sober. 3 days later, the neighbors are gone and the fear is dying down, but I'm still kind of jumpy. The thing is, if that bullet had hit me, I guess I could have died, but that's not what actually bothers me. I've already lived longer than I ever thought I would. But while I'm alive, my plan has been to teach just enough classes that if I live cheaply, I can set aside most of my time for what really matters, writing stories and fucking around. My apartment, shithole that it is, feels worth all the problems as long as I get to live a life centered on those two things. But if I'd been shot, there's a chance I would have gone into medical debt and had to get a real job. And that fucking terrifies me. The child shooter almost made me join LinkedIn. And that's why I think this is the worst thing that's ever happened in my neighborhood. But you know what? I have to thank my almost assassin for reminding me why I do this. I see those bullet holes as a blessing. I have to because management still has not repaired them or the gash. Thank you.